Hello all and welcome back. I hope everyone is doing really well. Hopefully majority of you have recently seen the price action of HBAR over the last 24 to 48 hours or so. We saw gains as high as 15 to 18% depending on where you were looking. We saw HBAR surge past 7 cents and it looked like it was going to go as high as 10 cents based on the amount of volume we have seen. We haven't seen this amount of volume since the beginning of the year, and actually earlier than that. And of course, that is because of the integration of the FedNow service with DROPP, which of course is a micro payment system built on top of Hedera. I will cover that more so in a minute. Let's go through this recap thread though from the HBAR Foundation, talking about what's happened over the last couple of weeks. It's official, the institutional adoption of Web3 is here. Recently, we've seen FedNow, major banks, global car manufacturers, and beyond all join the HBAR ecosystem. Let's dive into those past couple of weeks. Yesterday, DROPP, the micropayment solution built on Hedera, was showcased as a service provider for FedNow, the instant payment service developed by the Federal Reserve. Now, of course, this was driving an insane amount of social volume to the point of where we were actually the #1 coin, altcoin on Lunar Crush's metric system, and a really high Galaxy score as well. Twitter and lots of other socials were going absolutely manic with this news breaking. To celebrate that as well, SourceSwap Labs announced that updated HBAR and USDC by 𝗟𝗜𝗡𝗞𝗦 liquidity pool over on SourceSwap Labs. We've also seen CALAXY app launch on Hedera, kickstarting the Web3 creator economy. Say hello to NFTs, USDC tipping and micropayments, as well as one-to-one experiences with your favorite creators, and of course, decentralization. You can sign up on CALAXY.com. Again, I will cover that more in a section later on in this video. Did someone say banking? Hedera Governing Council members Shinhan Bank and SB Group showcased the results of an international remittance pilot with the largest financial institution in Taiwan. Stablecoins, the future of international money, and there are solutions already being developed on top of Hedera. If this is not bullish enough for you, I don't know what is. We've clearly just gone through several different use cases there for the Hedera Layer 0 ecosystem. That's of course not all. MTech Inc., which I've covered on the channel many times in the past, the CBDC solution built on top of Hedera, has raised an additional $4 million in funding led by Matrix Partners India. How about TradFi, or traditional finance? The Hedera Governing Council Aberdeen, with over 500 billion in assets under management, covered its H1 or half one progress. This heavily featured Hedera and 𝗟𝗚𝗙𝗥, the real world asset tokenization solution on Hedera. And again, Aberdeen and others have been tokenizing real world assets on top of Hedera. Another use case, another quiver to the bow of Hashgraph. What about TradeFi and supply chain? Fresh Supply Co. Australia, the large user of the MasterCard Provenance MP before it got sunsetted, connected Hedera to MasterCard through its Continuity API. The largest users of MP are now in the Continuity API sandbox. And of course, we've seen them effectively go live as well, transitioned away from that MasterCard Provenance to Hedera Hashgraph, and their use case is now live. We should start seeing transactions very soon. That, of course, wasn't enough for supply chain. We've already got Atma.io with its apparel supply chain, with the largest brands like Adidas and others effectively tracking their supply chain on Hedera Hashgraph. And of course, we all know and love that very well due to the sheer number of transactions. But the largest car manufacturer in South Korea, Hyundai Motor Group, who own the likes of Kia and Genesis, announced SEMS, or SEMS, the carbon emission tracking platform for the car manufacturing supply chain. I covered in a dedicated video how large that particularly is, because there are literally tens of thousands of parts from hundreds of different suppliers that go into car manufacturing. And of course, if you're tracking all of that through the supply chain, all those different steps effectively, there are hundreds upon hundreds, which could translate into literally billions of transactions from this one particular use case. Of course, carbon credits can't go without a mention as well, with the Hedera Guardian featuring in the Vera Standards document, covering how Web3 technology is being used to bring carbon credits on-chain, supported by robust DMRV. Before that, Hashport Network as well, the interoperability solution on Hedera, was again featured by Google Cloud, and the Google Cloud Startup Program with benefits for Hedera builders is open. Together, they are enabling startups to build highly scalable, world-class applications to drive the next wave of industry adoption. So it's all happening on Hedera at the moment, and hopefully you guys have been keeping up with the news. because this is incredible for the level of adoption we are seeing across the Hedera network. And of course, there's more in this thread here. I will leave this link down in the description for you guys to take a quick look at. Open source expert as well, actually, to spearhead the Hedera network has just joined, which again further strengthens the position of decentralization for the Hedera ecosystem. And of course, we're still looking forward to those community nodes going live in Q1 of 2024. What was the FedNow integration then? So I tweeted this out actually as the news went live. A long time coming. I covered DROPP over a year ago on the channel. You can go back and find that video if you want to, commenting on how large it could be to reduce friction for micropayments by leveraging the Hedera services. Well, they've just been selected as a service partner to integrate with FedNow. The FedNow service enables financial institutions to deliver end-to-end faster payment services to their customers. It's effectively an instant payment service. Therefore, this means banks in the US looking for micropayment services can now leverage and use Hedera technology. HBAR nearly surged 15% over the last 24 hours as a result. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of those gains since, but the wider macro for the markets isn't looking too good, so it is what it is. Now, more interestingly, were some of the comments that then came out from the likes of Mant. So this is actually the DROPP platform. You can go check this out, drop.cc. I will leave this link down in the description for you guys. But the comments from Mant were even more compelling to understand how large of a use case this is, as he confirmed that many millions of accounts would be created on Hedera in the near future that utilize Hedera as a payment rail for that FedNow service through the DROPP payments platform. It can't get any bigger than that. And he likened it effectively to Hedera effectively providing all the plumbing behind the scenes. The majority of users probably wouldn't know per se that they actually had a Hedera account or how it was really working, but that's kind of what you want to happen, right? You don't want the end user to have a experience full of friction. You want a frictionless service, and it just so happens that Hedera is very, very good at that and would provide all the plumbing behind the scenes for those micropayments to take form in the likes of USDC, USDT, etc., HBAR, whatever it may be. Massive use case that fully cannot be understated. And again, actually shows the true flexibility of Hedera. As I've said before, there are many different industries, from supply chain tracking right the way through to remittances and small payment transfers, thanks to how the low cost fixed fees pegged to US dollars of how transaction fees are effectively paid on Hedera. It's a complete game changer, and it enables large scale solutions like this to actually be financially modeled and understood before going live. You compare that to any other layer 0 with fluctuating transaction fees based on the price of the native token. You have no idea how much it's going to cost to process a certain batch of transactions. And of course, that can get more or less expensive over time. With Hedera, you know exactly what you're going to get. And it's one of the biggest selling points of the layer 0 itself. Of course, another major announcement and a long time coming was the launch of CALAXY app itself. I'm over here on the main webpage. You do need a mobile device at the moment to be able to create an account and use this. It's a progressive web application. So you basically go onto it via the website itself, and it will give you some instructions based on your device, either Android or iOS. You follow those on-screen instructions and you'll be able to create an account. But more importantly, it has finally gone live, and it is quite the experience so far. We've got a large portion of the Hedera community. I will be posting more and more content on here, so feel free to jump across and follow me. My username is just Dan Reed over on there. I will also have some of the other services once I get verified as a creator, or hopefully I get verified as a creator on there, for different things, like potentially I do some offerings around what you guys want to see. So it'd be a good way for you guys to engage and connect with me in a Web3 kind of space. Again, I will have a more dedicated video on CALAXY once I have those creator tools. I'll also showcase a lot of those creator tools and the behind the scenes of the app. So stay tuned for that video coming soon. In the meantime, of course, feel free to get involved. Great tweet here as well from Narioshi. Short interruption of your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this source news. The largest DEX on Hedera, SourceSwap Labs, has dethroned Stader Labs' liquidity staking protocol as #1 in terms of total value locked on the chain. And actually that's accelerated even further since he published this back on the 11th. This is 5 days or so ago. SourceSwap Labs is now the largest in terms of total value locked across the entire ecosystem, outpacing the likes of HeliSwap, Pangolin, and even Hedera Labs, which of course is just a liquid staking protocol. I've had a few questions from people asking whether Hedera Labs is still good to use or whatever. Yep, it will still have a higher APY or yield over native staking because of course the rewards that funnel or make up the Hedera Labs return is the native staking yield plus some additional HBAR emissions. So it normally will be a couple of basis points higher than native staking on its own. Nothing wrong with using it whatsoever. Swiss Coast as well is implementing a digital Swiss currency on Hedera. It'll be live as early as Q1 2024. As Swiss Coast, our quest for pioneering new financial frontiers is ceaseless. We consistently strive to understand and shape the evolving dynamics of the digital economy. Our most recent initiative is a market research study on a digital Swiss currency conducted in partnership with the Hedera Hashgraph Association in March of 2023. The insights gathered from this comprehensive study are now serving as a guiding light for the implementation of a digital Swiss currency on Hedera. So we could potentially be seeing a digital Swiss currency, again, built on top of Hedera, CBDCs, real-world asset tokenization, remittances, supply chain tracking, ESG carbon credits, whatever it may be, it can literally be built on top of Hedera. And it's one of the reasons why it is such a powerful layer 0/layer 1 DLT. And in my opinion, will be within the top 10 in terms of market cap without a shadow of a doubt. Hopefully you guys have been patient enough over the last couple of years, and we're starting to see a lot of this building behind the scenes begin to get realized with major partnerships and announcements going live left, right and center. The last couple of weeks have been absolutely insane for the amount of information released for HBAR, and it's only a matter of time before we start to see the token reflect the true utility that Hedera Hashgraph actually provides. Again, another potential use case we've seen, Ryan Davies, who's actually the founder of AdStacks and Yamgo. He doesn't normally hype things, but before they are close to being live, but one of the brand deals we are working on with the AdStacks platform and Yamgo is huge. If it comes off, it would add a massive amount of retail users to Hedera in the millions, early days yet. And of course, AdStacks platform were the largest use case on Hedera before Atma.io went live. They were the guys producing all the transactions, and it's a really cool use case anyway. Go check them out if you haven't actually heard about it. And of course, they've got Yamgo with some different reward-orientated stuff as well if you wish to check that out. Depends on how things play out. The customer might want to move quickly to get something out. So yeah, effectively he's saying that unsure yet, but potentially looks like something big will be coming to Hedera based off a use case they're looking to develop, and it will be a bit of a game changer. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, more of an update video from across the ecosystem, as there's been a ton of different announcements. The real crux though being that FedNow integration with DROPP, and of course CALAXY app going live, as well as some of those other bits of information. If you guys have a question, drop a comment down below. I'll try to respond to nearly every single one of them that I possibly can. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, feel free to share, and of course subscribe for any of my future content. Until the next one, I'll catch you then. Cheers.